Hey, I'm JT,
And I'm Ryan.
and we're hosting the Recovery Vow Podcast.
No.
Dun, 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 dun.
Hey, thanks guys for being on the Recovery Vow Podcast. Dr. JT Black, welcome back.
Thank you.
And Bishop Ryan McDermott. We're just going to talk about all kinds of stuff, being dads, being husbands. Well, I'm so glad to have Ryan and JT back on. Thank you guys for being
Back
here.
again.
A lot of people just wanted to hear from y'all. Like, tell me Ryan's story. I'm like, I can't do that. We're going to have Ryan back on.
There we go.
Yeah, and then tell me JT's story and everything about JT. Because you're a very private person.
I'm a private person.
Not anymore. Not anymore. Roll that beautiful
Dun,
footage.
dun, dun.
I know that I'm the only one in the room in recovery, but I had a lot of folks come up and say how much they enjoyed you guys being on the podcast, and they really liked hearing your history, Ryan. So you didn't talk about your dad. Is it okay that can I ask you about your dad?
Yeah, sure. My dad, his name's Steve. Nickname's,
My dad's name is Steve.
I know, we have
My dad's
similarities
Leon.
They called him Smiley.
No, that's his real nickname?
That's his nickname, was Smiley. Yeah, he just smiled a lot. He was a fisherman, a hunter, a very outdoorsman, plays golf. My mom and dad got divorced whenever I was 2. And so after that, it was just very off and on, like seeing him, not seeing him.
Yeah.
There was a lot of fights in between there, between him and her. I think, too, like my mom played a really large part in me not seeing him. There were some times where, a lot of that was on her and keeping me away from him. And then he battled so much with trying to see me, and she would try to take him to court for child support. I talk to my dad some now, just through social media and sometimes through text, like on Father's Day or on his birthday and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
as far as seeing him, I haven't seen him in, 10 years.
That tough? Because I've known you for, that 8-year mark, I think, 6 years, something like that. I've never heard you really talk about him. So
Yeah.
I'll
I
put you
kinda
in a
keep
weird
some of
spot,
that stuff
but-
private. Yeah. I had someone prophesy over me whenever my boys were 2. We were at a campground in North Carolina because we were at a youth camp. My father-in-law was the youth director at the time. So we were there just visiting my in-laws. And so we went into one of their night services, and it was during worship time. So we were up there just worshiping. And in the middle of worship, the guy that was playing the drums just stops playing. And then he walks down to where I'm at. And he was like, I've never done this before. He said, but I feel very strongly that the Lord wanted me to tell you that your old family tree has been cut down. And he is developing a new family tree inside of you with new branches through your family and through the kids that you and your wife have. He doesn't know me at all. He doesn't know Brooklyn. He doesn't know that I have twins. He didn't know anything about me. And during that time, I hadn't spoken to my mom in maybe a year and a half, 2 years. I didn't know why. She hadn't seen my boys. And so that was super rough, like an emotional for me, My dad as well, hadn't seen them. And so it's just, when you have kids for the first time, like you want your parents to be involved,
Like you want them to be proud of you.
You
Like,
want
look what I
them to-
made.
Yeah. And you want to have good grandparents, that your kids can go to their house and play and all that stuff. And so when that wasn't happening, it was just like, I don't even know what I've done. I don't know what's happened. Like, I don't even know why. So at that time, I was broken in that aspect. But whenever he said that to me, man, I lost it. I just broke down, just bawling my eyes out. Like, that was definitely from the Lord, But
Yeah.
since that moment, that's just always been a reminder to me that God's just created a new family through me. And so whatever was old is old and what's new has come. And so
For us, it was like I have great parents, and my wife's parents, my in-laws, they are awesome as well. I feel like early on we leaned a lot into them, and I just remember calling, asking for advice, and I still do that. But there's a dependency on them, especially in the early years. And I don't know if there's like a distinct day, but there was certainly a kind of a time where we just moved past like, oh, we can do this. If we feel comfortable with it, we can parent on our own, or not lean into them as much. So that was pretty neat. My dad is certainly my best friend, one of my best friends. I call him any big decision that I have. He's going to be a sounding board for me. I think through the years it's gone from, okay, you would do this. I see the wisdom in that. and then I would use that as advice more than like a directive, I guess. And
Almost like confirmation.
yeah,
I'm making these
confirmation.
decisions.
Yeah, okay.
Like the
Yeah,
same decisions
I
you
was
would make.
thinking I would do that, act on that same way, or sometimes it's conflicted. But he's definitely been a great resource. And my mom too. She's fantastic. And I don't know why, but both parents are overly sensitive to not being helicopter grandparents, and like they don't want to get in the way, almost too much of like, no, you can stay at our house, when you're in town, or those kinds of things. But they're just kind of overly cautious in some ways, of like they don't want to be in the way or overstep. So we don't live in the same city as them. We've never had that, so like we really cherish that time of coming together, and I think we soak it up a little bit more. Where I can understand if you have somebody around a lot more, that there's a chance for more friction. But since they're not close, it's just like, oh man, we love that time together.
Ryan, did you mention how old you were?
When I found faith?
Yeah.
I was 22. I was living in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at the time, and I had hit rock bottom in my life. I'd actually moved away from my hometown to just get away from all of the things that I was involved with. And so I had a friend that lived there that was like, hey, just come to Baton Rouge and get you cleaned up and, just start a new life.
What was rock bottom for you?
I was just doing, we talked about in our earlier episode of, doing ecstasy and coke and acid and just whatever there was, and so just being in that lifestyle. I had actually just gotten pulled over with 200 pills of ecstasy. Did I mention this in the last episode?
You didn't.
I got pulled over.
Tell us more.
I had just gotten back from Atlanta. I had 2 Ziploc bags. I had 100 pills in each bag, and so each one is a felony. And so it would have been a lot of jail time for me. So
you'd still be in jail probably.
Probably. I'd just gotten back to Cleveland, and I was about to get off on my exit, and there was an unmarked cop car that pulled out in front of me, and then got behind me and pulled me over. And so immediately I had shorts and boxers on, and so immediately I grabbed the bags and I stuffed the Ziploc part into my shorts and boxers on. Stuff that
Whoa.
there. And then as I'm pulling my hand out, the cop is at my window, and he's like, get out of the car, what are you hiding? And I was like, I'm not hiding anything, sir. He's like, well, what did you put in your pants? And I was like, I'm wearing boxers, sir. I had a wedgie. I was fixing my pants. What's crazy too is I had already taken a roll, so I was tripping. I was rolling at the time. And so he pulls me out of the car, and then he's like, get up against the car. So I put my hands up against. He's like, spread your legs. I'm like, squeezing as tight as I possibly can. And so he's doing this in between, like patting my shorts, doing this, seeing if he can fill a bag or anything like that. Thank the Lord he doesn't fill or find anything. He's like, walk to my car. I don't know if it's the Lord or luck, but either way, he let me go. So I need to get out of here. So that's when my friend's like, hey, just come down here, spend some time here. I was at rock bottom. Like I didn't have anything. I was broke. I didn't know anyone. Like it was just, just real low in my life. And so I passed by this church, Healing Place Church, Dino Rizzo's. And it said on the sign, Revival, Perry Stone, Cleveland, Tennessee. And so I'm like, I don't know who Perry Stone is, but I know Cleveland, Tennessee. That's wild. Somebody from my hometown is here. And so I'm like, I need to go there. And so I went to that service, and the whole time it was like he was speaking directly to me, know. And at the end of the service, he was like, if you want to know what you're going to do for the rest of your life, the Lord's going to reveal that to you. He was like, but you need to give your life to the Lord first. And if that's you, I want you to come up here, come to this altar. And the place was packed. So I went to the front. I was the first one up there. And then, just the altar's flooded. And then he was like, raise your hands. And so everybody raised their hands, and he's just prayed a prayer of forgiveness. After that, he said, now, Holy Spirit, fill them. And at that moment, it felt like oil was being poured on the top of my head. And I felt it rush from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet and then back up my body. And then I just started speaking into a language that I didn't know. I didn't understand. And now I know it's just the Holy Spirit speaking through me.
You feel the Holy Spirit right then.
The entire room went silent. I couldn't hear anything after that. It was just like me and the Lord in his presence. And then I heard him whisper to me audibly and say, you will lead the multitude of my children to the kingdom. And then after that, I just broke out into like a spirit of laughter. I'm just like sobbing and laughing at the same time, just overwhelmed by his love, his grace, his mercy, his spirit, all those things like that I never knew even existed. After that, I moved back home to Cleveland. I met my wife, Brooklyn. One thing led to another. We got married and have 4 kids, and we just celebrated our 20-year anniversary.
Y'all are some pranksters. I saw her video she just put up where
She
somebody changed out the chapstick with lipstick or something on
yeah,
a plane.
Yeah, that's just one of them. She's been holding on to that one for a few months. Yeah,
That's
I
good.
found out she's been waiting for that moment. So she put some chapstick on, and she looked over at me and was like, "Your lips are chapped." And I was like, "Give me some of that chapstick."
And of course you can't
She
do
was
it
like,
because you're in the cast.
Okay. Just start smearing it on
Yeah.
everywhere.
So go check out Brooklyn McDermott on all the social medias and you'll see this
on
video.
the grams and
There's never a moment
all the
of
pranks,
relaxation.
All the pranks. You just never know.
And the kids will jump out and scare you. That's like my go-to. I love to scare people
Yeah.
randomly.
Yeah, I notice you
good.
do that a lot.
Hey, before we get back to today's episode, I want to thank the team over at Kendrick Paint Body. Thank you guys so much for your sponsorship of the Recovery Valve podcast. We truly cannot do what we do without sponsors like you. I want to say that when Richard Pryor passed away, that was probably the moment that Brittany Black was born.
We don't believe in reincarnation as Christians, Eric.
I didn't
But if
say
there
that.
was,
If there was,
There's not.
there's a little bit of humor that floated through the air,
that's right.
She's a mess.
imposed into
A little
that
bit
one.
of a gifting.
My wife, Brittany Black.
Well, how does she say it?
very
She's wild
country.
as a buck.
Yeah, she is
Wild as a buck.
No,
Like,
we
you
met
just
at a
know.
camp, and if you have a vision of what you want in a spouse, you need to go to places where that person would be.
Yeah.
If you want someone who's a strong believer that has certain qualities, there's a lot of places that those people don't hang out that you're going to. You're not going to meet them,
Right.
and you're going to waste time in
That's
the
a
meantime.
good word, JT.
And so we get on church camps and we can make fun of it in this modern culture, but there's so much good that comes from
Yeah.
it.
For sure. I don't think you really had a choice for Brittany. I think she had
Yeah.
already stated her claim
She
with
did.
you. Like she was like,
She did.
This
Yeah.
boy's
Aren't
mine.
you branded or something
This boy's mine.
on that ham down there?
Yeah, right. Thigh.
You coming back to Mississippi with me?
That's what she said. No, she did say something like that when
Yeah.
she was sharing the story. She's like, I was like, that boy right there, that's mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you got it, you got it. You know, No, but I remember seeing her, and I just remember thinking, man, she is gorgeous. And she was in a relationship at the time.
Whoa.
And I wasn't gonna mess with that, but yeah, it became pretty clear she was not locked in to that relationship. So
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
see what you're saying.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
they weren't
Relationship.
as serious as maybe the fella thought. Worked out good for all of us. He's got a great family too now.
Good for him.
I think what I would say about all of our marriages and families is there's a lot of joy. You know, watching you guys, like you're talking about all the pranks and things with the McDermotts. There's so much joy and laughter that happens in a home. We all do a really good job. It's something I try to be better at, like providing just opportunities for moments to happen. You know, going to Top Golf or going to grab pizza together, going, trying to be more fun, fun guy.
Welcome to your late 30s. So tell me about JT Black. And I think you were born in the faith. Like,
I was born in the faith.
you were born.
My grandfather was a pastor. My dad was a pastor. I'm a pastor. 3 generations there. We've been in the church a while.
Do you remember your first like spiritual experience with the Holy Spirit, or
like
Ryan's story?
I hear stories like you and Ryan, and like they're awesome, and I love hearing that. And there's like a distinct moment of life change or like a shift. I don't have that, and for the longest time, I was like, man, that's not not fair. But my youth pastor Kevin Kelly really talked about the protection of the Lord, the the shielding, and what a blessing it was that I did grow up in this way. So it really shifted the way I looked at things. And, I don't have a coming to faith moment. It was probably 5 or 6 when I made that decision for myself. But there are so many moments along the way that, I falter in my faith too. Like I question, is God real? Like I've questioned, is this aspect of spirituality real? The Holy Spirit, what is that about? All these questions that I've had throughout my life and even within my ministry. I was sharing with one of my friends this last week. I saw one of those pastors, Pastor Jim Bolin. He was at Trinity Church in Atlanta at the time, and I was in a traveling singing group, Voices of Lee University, and we were just walking around the building. They were doing a big renovation, and so I knew I was going into ministry. So I'm soaking all of this stuff up, and I'm walking like first in line. And I just remember like we were going back into the sanctuary, and he was like, "Oh wait, let me show you one more spot." So we turn the corner and go up the hallway, and he opens this double door, and it's just like somebody hit me like in my chest. Like it was a physical feeling, like just like stopped me walking. I'm like, what in the world? He didn't tell us where we were going. He just said, let me show you one more thing. I didn't know what to expect. I mean, it could have been a cool vending machine. He'd been showing us like just classrooms. I turned the corner. It's just a room filled with like 20, 30 intercessory prayers. And they're just walking in this room, worship music playing. To me, that was just one of those first like just divine moments of I had zero expectation heading into a service, a speaker, a song. There's zero expectation of that moment. And the Lord met me, and I had an encounter with the Lord that I can't deny. My wife and I lost a child about halfway through the pregnancy, and just being in the hospital room, I'm back in those moments of hearing the hospital beeps and just all the noises of a room, the nurses coming and going, and she's getting ready to deliver that next morning. But just a peace in that room, a peace that I'm so thankful for, just the prayers of that day and people coming in at the right time and bringing laughter, joking with us and hugging on us and, having serious moments. And it's one of the darker moments of our time together, if not the darkest. And just to know that God's comfort, his peace, joy was still present in the middle of that darkness.
I've enjoyed watching all of your kids grow up. From what I can tell, I mean, you're great parents.
My kids love their Grandpa Eric.
What? How did that become Papa Eric?
I mean,
Uncle.
Just the age.
We were talking, I think we all three read Naroop's post about how parents do so much.
Naroop Alphonse.
So, Ryan, I mean, you are our next gen pastor. We have camps here at our church, and I know JT met somebody at camp. Your wife.
My wife. We just talked about it. What do you
and you went to camp, so camp's got to be important. I didn't go to camp, so tell me.
You missed out.
Why should I go to camp? I did miss out.
Camp it's a lot of different things. It's a time where you can come together in a community of just a bunch of different people, and
zero
mixtures,
sleep,
walks of life. You got zero sleep, but then
ton of sugar.
You just find a lot of sugar, a lot of dancing. I mean, it's wild how you wake up so early, and then you're go, and then you don't think you can go anymore, and then you get that second wind. You have to get like 4 different
and
winds
then one
whenever you're at
hits,
camp. Yeah, it's like.
Do y'all drink like a lot of energy drinks?
No.
Okay.
Kool-Aid.
What is it called?
Bug juice.
What's it called again?
Caffeine.
Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid.
I like cold beans from the
Drinking
tin.
on Kool-Aids. Yeah, so I think camp is great for community, for meeting new people, and that you normally probably wouldn't be around. And then, there's the fun aspect too of just, having a good time with your peers and playing games and social interactions. And then there's the spiritual side of it, where you can, hear a word from the Lord and, just God can meet you in whatever walk of life that you're in, when you're least expecting it or you're expecting it.
How old are the kids that are going to these camps?
Well, so the kids camp is kindergarten to 5th grade.
That's the one that's on site.
That's the one that's
Mostly.
here on the Stevens Creek Church campus. And then we capped it out at 450, and we've maxed that out. We've got quite a few on the wait list. We have over 150 volunteers now. That number's rising too. And then our student camp is off-site. That's in Homer, Georgia, at our North Georgia campground. It's a beautiful campground. It's one of the best that I've seen in the Church of God in our denomination.
I've been out for
It's
a
not
job
even
there a couple of
camping.
times.
It's more glamping than
Is that
anything
glamping?
else. Yeah. And so that's just a lot of fun. And our, it's for middle school and high school students. And, they're there Monday to Friday. And that's where you're going 100, 12, 15 hours a day. And, man, it's just a lot of fun. You get to meet your wife or your future wife, future girlfriend, all those good things. And then you also just get to meet the Lord and have a spiritual moment there too. So camp too, I think it brings unity with your youth group too.
For sure.
There's a lot of people that are just trying to find their place, haven't found their place yet. And usually it's at camp where they find their place,
Yeah.
And then they really get tied into their small groups. Forces conversations too, because when they break off into small groups in their rooms, they have specific questions that are geared towards how the word affects your life and what was spoken about. You got your country boys, you got your preps, you got your athletes. You
sound like you're explaining the Breakfast Club right now.
It is the Breakfast Club. Is really what it is.
You ever seen that movie, JT?
Never seen it.
What?
I can't believe you've never seen The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, that's
Well,
wild.
when
You need
what
to see
did it
that.
come out?
You know what he also
You were
has?
probably-
7.
He also hasn't
You were
seen
probably 11.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
No, I haven't.
He hasn't seen that. It's wild. He's
This came out in 1985. It was before I was born. What are you talking about?
Very uncultured. Yeah, but still, like everybody knows the Breakfast
Everybody knows
Club.
The Breakfast Club. You need to go home today and watch that movie. You'll understand.
Emilio Estevez was in it.
Yeah. He also
He
went,
went
on
on
to
to
be in
coach the Junior Olympic hockey
Mighty
team.
Ducks.
D2. That's an impressive career.
Mm-hmm.
To be an actor like that and a high-level coach.
What'd you listen to in high school? What was your music?
Kirk Franklin?
You're lying.
Stop.
Who's Kirk Franklin?
Do you want a revolution? Whoop,
You
whoop.
don't know Kirk Franklin?
I need to
I met
tell
Kirk
y'all.
Franklin with Johnny.
Who else did you listen to? Little
NSYNC.
Joel Steen.
Oh, God.
Of course you
Backstreet
did.
Boys, Tracy and JoJo.
Oh,
Brian and
my
Knight.
life.
So no Limp Bizkit.
No, I did not. Could not listen to that. First of all, he spelled biscuit wrong, so I wasn't going to do that.
He was a different kind of biscuit.
Yeah.
Fred Durst.
Yeah.
Frederick
Durst. The Kid Rock, which I wasn't a big Kid Rock fan.
What?
Really? That surprises me.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I did not like country till I got married.
Any kind of country?
Any kind of country.
Me
Except
too.
Shania Twain, we like, man, I feel like a woman. Whitney
Let's go, boys.
Have mercy.
Houston,
Okay.
Stop.
Tony Braxton. Unbreak my heart. Say you love me again.
Quit stroking my mic.
Sister Act 2. That album was kicking. Whatever year that was. I don't remember the.
I think they're doing Sister Act 3.
Yeah, I won't watch that one.
Yeah.
I don't care for the View version of Whoopi.
Mm.
The Sister Act 2 version. Sister Act.
I've watched
and
Sister
2
Act.
was great.
So we've been in this room for 75 hours, and I want to just thank you guys so much for being on the podcast. Y'all make it really fun. Like y'all make it really easy to do this. I feel like we're just hanging out talking. So
I think we are.
yeah, it's great. Really appreciate you guys sharing your story. So thank you so much for just coming by and
Thanks for having us, Eric.
stepping into the studio, and thank you guys
didn't
for being
give
on the
us a
Recovery
choice,
Valve
really.
podcast.
Yeah.
No, well, I mean, I fed you, except
Let's
for
do a
Ryan.
part tres.
Next time we need some filet mignons or something.
Hey, thanks for tuning in today's episode of Recovery Valve Podcast. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you would like to connect with us, you can connect with us through email at recoveryvalve@gmail.com, our website, recoveryvalve.com, or you can find us on our different social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. But we would love for you to go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. If you would like to pre-order a copy of my book, Marriage After Addiction, Take Back Your Life Together, you can do that through the store at exomarriage.com, or you'll see a link on any of our social media platforms. I look forward to seeing you again very soon. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Recovery Valve Podcast is brought to you by Goldmec, Newsom Electric, S&S Supplies, Carpet Cleaning Pros of Augusta, Rhett Walker, Atlas Health and Wellness, Norval Fixture and Equipment, Augusta Lawn and Turf, the Augusta Dream Center, Bagwell Insurance, Sally Kohler Photography, Burroughs Elijah Attorneys, Communigraphics, Kendra Neal Studio, Kendrick Paint and Body, Coleman Construction, Augusta Magazine, State Farm Insurance, Craig International. And I want to say thanks to everyone else who has contributed to the Recovery Valve podcast. We couldn't do this without you.